Welcome back to our channel where we share updates and untold stories about Catherine, Princess of Wales and her royal family. Today we bring you some news. Ornmin Ego Buckingham confirms news on Princess Charlotte shocked. Everyone in the meticulously planned ceremonies of the British monarchy, official remarks, usually have a calm, measured tone. Palace announcements are carefully planned and carefully worded, and they leave out as much as they say. They help manage expectations, keep the institution stable, and protect its dignity. The institution works as much via symbolism as through direct power. In that closely confined space, even little things signify a lot. When a recent conversation involving Princess Charlotte, who is third in line to the throne, became public, it gave people an unusually clear look into how the Prince and Princess of Wales raise their children. An offer that might have easily been ignored became a significant public moment, Charlotte's polite, softly funny denial that summed up a larger view on children education and when to do civic duty. The Waleses turned down an offer of patronage with a short punny line about the princess's studies. This showed that they had made a conscious choice to keep their children away from the growing demands of public life, putting a safe, normal childhood ahead of taking on official duties early. What should have been a simple exchange of protocols turned into a bigger shift in how senior royals are choosing to nurture their successors. This transformation is based on family experience, modern ideas about child development, and a long-term vision of public duty. The organizers of the National Pressed Flower Festival sent out an invitation that sparked the public discourse right away. The festival is a philanthropic event that benefits the whole community. It supports children's hospitals, helps create sensory gardens for individuals with visual impairments, and employs the accessible and tactile art of pressed flowers as both a creative medium and a way to connect with people. Organizers often look for a royal patron to help them get more attention, get more media coverage, and get people excited about donating money. According to charity trustees, a royal connection is more than just a ceremonial honor. It may lead to contributions, attract volunteers, and lead to collaborations with other organizations. That basic math explains why organizations ask members of the royal family for help when their public image fits with their purpose. A royal endorsement may convert a small-town effort into a national story and keep people interested in a crowded field of charities. It was not a random idea to make Princess Charlotte a possible patron. Charlotte's love of plants and flowers has been brought up many times in family photos, official appearances, and stories told by the Princess of Wales. Charlotte, in particular, has been praised for her care in arranging flowers and her love of gardening outside. In stories of family life at Adelaide Cottage, the Windsor house, the youngsters are described as gathering petals and plants. Lavender, violets, and daisies are some of the flowers that are regularly referenced in these short personal stories. Lavender, in particular, was said to be lucky when it was arranged into ballerina slippers, according to family stories that were shared in profiles and lifestyle media. Those homey pictures made Charlotte a natural choice for a festival centered on the slow, careful art of preserving petals and stems. The symbolism seemed to fit perfectly, and the sight of a young princess quietly working on a tactile, child-friendly art project would have appealed to charities that like stories about people. The organizers thought the role would be small and honorary, with activities that were suited for the age group and low-key, including going to exhibits unveiling displays of children's pressed flower art or going to a brief informal class. This type of light-touch patronage has happened before in history. Young royals are typically linked to causes that fit with their family's values or their own interests. They are also often invited to help out with fundraising awareness events and community projects. The picture of a little princess delicately touching papered flowers fits well with that tradition. It shows innocence, a love for beauty, and a symbol of doing well for others. It is a picture that charity organizers, palace communications staff, and royal watchers who want softer, more personal pictures of royal upbringing will all like. But the palace did not just say yes or no in a dull, impersonal way. Instead, they gave a well-crafted short answer that was polite and funny at the same time. The statement said that Princess Charlotte was currently far too busy pressing on with her studies to take on additional duties. The pun, "pressing on," was a playful nod to the festival's focus, while firmly making it clear that the princess's main priority was her education. That little bit of language did a lot of things at once. It politely kept Charlotte from having to do more work, it recognized the charity's goals and the invitation's kindness, and it added a soft human touch to what could have been an awkward administrative exchange. A savvy court communications team turned a short, funny rejection into an exercise in managing reputations, turning what might have been a little diplomatic slip-up into a kind and illuminating gesture. People reacted quickly and mostly positively. The statement rapidly became memes and kind comments on social media. There were pictures of Charlotte surrounded by school books instead of flowers, funny captions that said, "Schoolwork sprouts first," and a lot of people talking about how nice the pair was. Traditional media utilized the pun as a starting point for lengthy articles on being a parent, being a kid, and doing civic duty. Many people thought the answer was smart, but more thoughtful people saw a deeper meaning underneath the humor. Instead of seeing the remark as a snub or aloofness, most people saw it as a clear declaration that education and childhood experience should come before the quick increase of public duties. To put it simply, the deterioration became a simple way to say that the family was doing it on purpose. When put in context, the rejection is a critical part of a larger and well-thought-out parenting philosophy. Prince William and Princess Catherine have made it plain in interviews, charity work, and public appearances that they want their three children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, to enjoy as normal a childhood as possible. Their method is different from earlier ones when young royals were typically trained for ceremonial responsibilities from a young age and duty came before childhood. The Waleses are following a different path. They are putting more emphasis on cognitive and emotional growth, getting along with peers, and slowly becoming used to public life. That reasoning is not only emotional, it is based on the idea that long-term public service is better off with someone who is mentally stable and aware of themselves than with someone who has been trained to play a part. The couple's choices have been mostly about keeping their kids safe in their early years. William and Catherine have witnessed how early exposure to constant media attention and ceremonial duties may affect people's emotions, both in their own families and in the public record. The contemporary royal archive is full with examples of youngsters who were meant to be leaders being forced into public life before they had learned fundamental social and cognitive abilities. Those demands might take away from normal experiences and make young people feel like they have to do things before they are completely grown up. A rising number of consultants, child development professionals, and some critics agree that a recalibration is needed. This means putting psychological normality and private growth first, and only introducing public responsibility when a kid shows preparedness, interest, and agency. The palace's refusal to let Charlotte be a patron of the event is a clear way to maintain these restrictions. It was apparent what they wanted their kids to do: learn, play, grow emotionally, and develop their own hobbies, just like kids everywhere else. That position safeguards Charlotte's existing schedule and keeps the door open for her personal hobbies, like her love of flowers, to be private joys instead of becoming public statements right away. To put it another way, the Waleses are saying that they want to take a break. They want the child's interests to grow naturally without being influenced by causes or institutions too soon. This plan also keeps the possibility open that if Charlotte eventually decides to publicly support a cause, the choice will be hers based on real feelings rather than a sense of duty. The pair has made a number of decisions that show their child-centered attitude. They moved from Kensington Palace in downtown London, where they were always in the public eye, to Adelaide Cottage on the Windsor estate, which is more private. This was done on purpose to cut down on their daily exposure to paparazzi invasive photography and people watching them all the time. The relocation gave them more privacy and a family life that was more like that of many non-royal families, with family traditions, outdoor play, and time alone without being watched. Adelaide Cottage is part of the royal estate and yet has the same level of protection and personnel as a great city palace, but it is a smaller, more homey place. The move was significant because it showed that family life was more important and that the parents wanted to raise their kids in a place that protected them from the constant light of city life. Choosing schools has been a helpful part of the plan. Charlotte's parents picked Lambrook School for her early years. It is the kind of school that focuses on a well-rounded education with academic study, as well as sports, theater, music, and activities that develop character. In these kinds of places, kids are mostly seen as students, and their identities are molded more by their friends and school experiences than by their last names. Reports say that Charlotte is more recognized among her peers for her confidence and energy than for her royal background. The Waleses probably see this as a good thing. Playing on a team, being in a school play, and dealing with the tiny problems that come up in the classroom every day are all ways to gain resilience, social skills, and self-confidence via hard work instead than privilege. Those everyday things like making friends, working on projects together, and dealing with and learning from little failures are the informal labs of social development that help young people become ready for adult responsibilities. The Waleses do not want to be alone. Instead of keeping their kids completely out of the public eye, they seem to prefer a philosophy of timed exposure, slowly introducing their kids to public events in family-friendly settings that let them become used to crowds, cameras, and ceremonial procedure. Trooping the color. The yearly ceremonial birthday march of the sovereign and the Christmas Day walk to the parish church at Sandringham are all traditional family events that provide kids a chance to see the ritual and spectacle of royal life with their family. These gatherings are safe places to get used to things before you can expect to be invited to events on your own or take on long-term official duties. The goal is to help the kids become used to public life by giving them little staged encounters instead of throwing them in all at once or for a long time. So from a public relations point of view, the punny rejection to the Pressed Flower Festival was both a clever way to send a message and a statement of conviction. It seemed like brilliant spin on the surface, but it was really a public statement of a private decision that Charlotte and her brothers would not be forced to do things they are not ready for. This technique is based on the idea that kids who grow up exploring, learning, and living in a loving household will be better able to handle their responsibilities in the future with emotional stability and a stronger feeling of agency. The strategy might be characterized as a long-term investment focusing on the emotional, intellectual, and interpersonal capital that the couple is developing, rather than the immediate benefits of first charitable partnerships. That commitment is not just an abstract choice. It is based on a list of historical examples that show the disadvantages of being exposed to public and institutional pressures too soon. The 20th and early 21st centuries provide significant, occasionally distressing illustrations of the impact of early public indoctrination on subsequent life. People frequently use King Charles III's childhood as a good example of a current scenario. He was named heir when he was quite young and given the title of Prince of Wales as a youngster. His instruction was full with strict rules. Institutions and customs that controlled his education tried to teach him discipline and responsibility, but according to him and biographers, these systems did not provide much opportunity for the natural social growth of a kid. He went to Gordonstoun, a Scottish boarding school famed for its strict rules and focus on cultivating character to be ready for leadership. However, he found it to be lonely and challenging. Because of the attention that came with his position, his private problems were frequently made public, which made it harder for him to grow up normally and left a complicated legacy that his family has had to deal with in later choices. Princess Anne's life is another good example. She started doing public appearances while she was still a teenager, and by the time she was 20, she was basically a full-time working royal. People appreciate her professionalism and hard work, but they were formed in an atmosphere that did not allow for the experimental behavior and private mistakes that most young people go through as they figure out who they are. Her history illustrates how persistent alignment with public responsibilities from a young age may limit prospects for conventional inquiry and emotional development. Prince William's and his younger brother Prince Harry's experiences may be the most important reasons for the way he is raising his children now. During their teenage years, they were subjected to an unparalleled level of media intrusion, exacerbated by the tremendous public scrutiny of their mother, Diana, Princess of Wales. Diana's method, which let them go on a lot of normal trips and do charitable work, did not protect them from the constant scrutiny of photographers or the long-term anguish that followed her sad death. Those events that shaped me left lasting emotional scars. As the heir, William was exposed early to expectations and set duties. He saw firsthand how public scrutiny can ruin private life and make personal growth more difficult. Those personal experiences have made William determined to keep his own children safe from similar invasions. He appears to understand that others would be interested in his family, but he does not think that means he has to do everything right now. The parenting decisions he and Catherine are making may be seen as an attempt to break a cycle to build a model where the early years are mostly about personal development learning from other kids, and having the possibility to form a personality that is not completely based on what institutions demand. By putting off Charlotte's formal responsibilities and keeping her interests, schooling, and childhood mostly private, they give her something that is becoming rare, the chance to have a normal childhood full of curiosity, mistakes, private joys, and informal learning, instead of always being a student for public life. As more and more people see Charlotte in public, they tend to get the idea that she is acquiring a mix of composure and kindness that will help her in her future public life. Her controlled but genuine-seeming interactions, which are short and family-like, have shown that she is a confident, caring, and attentive youngster. It is important that these moments be real, little seemingly spontaneous actions have a strong effect because they feel natural and genuine. One remarkable example of this happened on Christmas Day 2019 when they went to Sandringham. Charlotte, who was 4 years old, said hello to others who wished her well and took a flower from a lady in a wheelchair. Charlotte hugged the lady tightly without any evident reason. Because it seemed genuine and not contrived, the gesture spread quickly. People who saw it said that this unplanned act of compassion showed that the youngster was comfortable starting a conversation with other people, even in a throng with cameras. Charlotte has also been calm and helpful to family members at ceremonies at other times. For example, during the Platinum Jubilee celebrations in 2022, she was seen gently correcting her brother George's posture on the balcony of Buckingham Palace and telling him to keep his hands by his sides during the national anthem. She also calmed her younger brother Louis down during a loud fly-past. Charlotte went over to George and talked to him during the burial of Queen Elizabeth II. It seemed like she was helping him with the traditional act of bowing as the casket passed. The press took these pictures and publicized them extensively. They show a youngster who pays attention to how others behave and seems to know what is expected of them at ceremonies. These examples are important because they show attributes that are hard to fake, such emotional intelligence, being aware of your surroundings, and being able to stay cool under pressure. These behaviors, whether arising from instinct, the influence of solid family dynamics, or discreet but attentive parental instruction, indicate that Charlotte is developing interpersonal abilities often linked to adulthood. Importantly, these traits seem to be developing via typical experiences such as interaction with friends' family routines and outdoor exploration, rather than being replaced by orchestrated public instruction. The culture at Lambrook School and the routines that Charlotte experiences at Adelaide Cottage are both contributing to the development of her personality. Everyone who lives in Adelaide Cottage describes it as a laid-back and family-friendly environment. The organization of a royal household includes domestic staff and childcare experts. Yet the presence of parents who are actively involved in their children's upbringing helps to moderate the authority of these professionals. According to reports, both William and Catherine are quite active in the day-to-day activities of their family. This includes activities like as taking their children to school, reading them stories before bedtime, and doing routine duties around the home. The children, especially those with high-profile identities, get the stability and emotional support they need in order to grow up in a secure environment as a result of this physical presence. In the comfort of their own homes, parents provide their children the opportunity to follow their interests, spend time outdoors, and take on responsibilities if they so want. They are able to become more self-sufficient as a result of this without having to make every single thing they do a public sign. Given that Catherine has spent a lot of time discussing the significance of spending time outside for the emotional and physical well-being of children, it should not come as a surprise that the two of them like activities that take place outside. Programs that focus on early childhood development and the creation of safe environments for young minds have received support from the Princess of Wales. These programs place an emphasis on play, physical activity, and formative experiences in natural settings. A typical occurrence for the children is their visit to Windsor Great Park and several other green locations. Because of the sensory experiences they have there, kids are able to play, explore, and learn. These are essential for the growth of a kid in a healthy manner and for maintaining a healthy equilibrium with the structured aspects of public life. In this kind of environment, flower arrangement may be a relaxed, hands-on method to learn that is creative, personally meaningful, and not connected to any formal responsibilities. In addition, Charlotte's extended family members have a significant impact on her upbringing. They are the anchors of regular family life and the sources of continuity outside of royal duties, according to many people. Her maternal grandparents, Michael and Carol Middleton, are the ones who made this claim. In order to make individuals feel more normal, the Middleton family provides a great example of how families can maintain their closeness and have fun together over the years. The dynamics of relationships that are not regulated for public consumption are presented to children and adolescents via activities such as weekend vacations, visits to the homes of grandparents, and simple family traditions. This provides them with the opportunity to participate in developmental experiences that are distinct from those that are scheduled by palace officials or during public schedules. Additionally, to the obvious benefits to Charlotte's development, delaying her formal commitments provides an opportunity for thoughtful communication. By first portraying Charlotte in a manner that is unmistakably that of a child, her parents are able to exert control over what others expect and have the public and the press see her in this manner. Because of this way of framing things, it is easier for her and the public to accept her blunders, poor moods, and off days as natural rather than as indications that she is not following the rules or that she is not ready. When one views public service as an inescapable destiny, it guards against the early exhaustion, anger, or faux cynicism that may occur as a result of this perception. By maintaining a space for private development and personal choice, the Waleses increase the likelihood that any future public commitments Charlotte makes would originate from her own desire to do so. This is a quality that is seen as being more authentic and long-lasting. The plan's long-term objective is quite clear: to assist Charlotte in developing a robust sense of who she is, which will ultimately lead to meaningful public service when she is ready to take on some responsibility. The generosity that she shows to those she does not know might serve as a foundation for her future work with charitable organizations. There are numerous little victories that she achieves in her day-to-day existence that contribute to the grace that she displays in brief public moments. These victories include receiving praise from her teachers, making friends with her classmates, and quietly doing her private work. It is an indication of a larger strategy to participate in character development via real-life events rather than through scheduled ceremonies, and the decision to decline a little favor is a symptom of that larger purpose. Therefore, the story of the invitation that was turned down is significant for more than just that one particular event. This is not only a humorous press statement, rather it is a clear indication of a quietly revolutionary transformation in the way that royals bring up their children. Protocol in the past encouraged early admission into public tasks and placed private development on wait. This had the effect of putting private growth on hold. At this moment, the Waleses are discussing a new approach to doing things that places an emphasis on being present, exploring, and maintaining emotional well-being. In doing so, they are betting that children who are brought up with love, play, and a sense of normalcy will mature into adults who are capable of serving in a meaningful manner for a significant amount of time. The path that lies ahead seems to Princess Charlotte to be like to a garden that has been well tended to. She is being given the opportunity to grow, learn, and flourish at her own pace, rather than being compelled to demonstrate her abilities at an earlier age. In the event that she decides to take on further public responsibilities in the future, the private foundation that she has established through her education, her family life, and her unstructured inquiry should equip her with the fortitude and authenticity that she needs to live a long life of service. Thank you for watching the video. Please let us know your thoughts, and goodbye for the time being.